Hi, Marbs here. You know, a question that has been coming up a lot lately is, Marbs, what titles do you suggest if I'm going to start an Xbox One, Xbox Series physical collection? Boy, you know, I had to really pause and think hard about that. Because if I were starting out and I didn't exactly know a lot about collecting Xbox physical on Xbox One, Xbox Series, how would I go about it? What titles would I go for first? What about the playability versus price equation? So these are some of the questions that came to mind. In this video, I'm going to share 10 games that I think if you're just starting your Xbox One Series physical collection would be the first 10 games I would choose. Now, these games are ones that will give you a solid experience on the Xbox One, but also give you a taste of some of what the console offers. I will also share how I reached the decision for each title and why I chose to add it. Now, I wanted to represent a variety of titles and a variety of price ranges and a variety of genres, but nothing crazy on the price. Now, some titles you should be looking for that are a solid addition to your collection will continue to maintain their value, and that was part of my focus here. Note that the physical world, there are price differences between the consoles. If a game is a little popular, then the Xbox version is normally priced about the same to maybe slightly less, just depending, okay, versus other consoles. But if the game isn't very popular at all, you can expect the Xbox version to cost less. Now, that's normally the same across the board as other consoles. They also are released as AAA titles. Now look, digital games on Xbox are normally priced at retail price, unless they are on sale or subject to a discount. For Xbox One Series titles, finding them can be a lot of a challenge these days. Now, the more common titles are easy to find used, and you could often get an excellent deal on them that is far below the cost of the digital version, or even the new physical sealed version. However, titles that are rare, or titles that are assumed to not sell very well, of course, import titles are very likely not titles you're going to find used. So you are at the mercy of finding a price you're willing to pay. And if it's new, expect to pay the regular price. If you decide to pass on a title, know that if it's newer, you might not be able to get it if they sell out in physical because they're not repressing the games. In addition, I wanted to select 10 games that were fun and playable. If you're going to start with buying a new Xbox One or Series console to experience these titles, the features of Smart Delivery can give you the enhanced version of the game. A number of these titles have been remastered and enhanced for the Xbox One X and the Xbox Series consoles, but only the Xbox Series X offers the optical drive to use the disc. Now, if you're going to buy a console to experience these games, in general, I would suggest the Xbox Series X, as each one of them is going to play best on this console. But also, only one of these 10 games require the Xbox One Series X to be able to play the game. So that means that the lower Xbox One S might offer a tad less performance than the Xbox One X, but it's still a powerhouse. Now, the reality is here, it won't break the bank and it can still supply a decent experience. Now, I also would pay a lot of attention to the Xbox One X. Reason being, it is a very good value and offers a very good experience. At the end of the video, I'm going to give you a little insight to the current pricing in North America versus the current digital pricing on Xbox as a point of comparison. So, let's get started. Now, the first game we're going to talk about here is Gears of War Ultimate Edition. Now, this is a total remaster of the first Gears game. It's received a number of upgrades since it was remastered, and using Smart Delivery, you will download the latest version of the game, which includes 4K 60 FPS upgrades, as just overall better performance. The game and the story are good. If you have never played this game before and you like third-person shooters with a good campaign, you should check this one out, as it really is good. Now, as for the physical edition, it has been released in a couple of versions, including the one that is bundled with Rare Replay. Also an excellent game. Unless you don't want the Rare Replay, that is the only exception to recommending the bundled version. As long as you're okay with the bundled version, you can get both discs and both games for a reasonable amount of money. Now, the second game we're going to talk about here is Strange Brigade from 2018. Now, this was developed by one of my favorite developers, Rebellion Entertainment, and it's a lot of a game that people passed on. This puzzle-solving shooter is a lot of fun to play, and I have it here in the Steelbook, which was included in the collector's edition. The game has been fun all through it, and while it doesn't always get it right, it makes a great effort to be that Indiana Jones type of game we all wanted. It supports 4K HDR, looks good, fun to play, especially in the online co-op mode, and it is one that I would recommend in the standard edition that's usually available, and normally you can find it used. Now the next one, this is RoboCop Rogue City. It is a new action-adventure game in the RoboCop franchise by developer Teon and marketed by Nacon. Now, this is the only game out of the 10 that is an Xbox Series console exclusive, and itself is a love letter to the RoboCop movie. If you've ever wanted to enforce the law in old Detroit, this will allow you to do that. And you can really tell how much time the developers put into trying to bring the movie franchise home in a game that's fun to play. It looks good, it plays good, and since the price has been falling on the physical edition, you might be the time now to jump in and try this campaign-oriented shooter. Now, It Takes Two from developer Hazelight has been known for making games of these co-op puzzle type for a long time. You know, this game has been enhanced for 4K HDR, it plays great, but it's a co-op title, and it includes a friend pass to allow your partner to play for free if they don't own the game. It is an adventure game, a problem-solving game, but more than anything else, it's a lot of fun. If you're seeking a really cool co-op experience, this is one of the best co-op adventures I've played. Looks great on Xbox, and it is the original and has a different experience than you might find in other games. Now the next one here, this is the Prototype Biohazard bundle. This is sort of a sci-fi horror shooter kind of thing. It includes the harder to find Prototype 2 as well as Prototype 1, all the DLC, everything combined on one disc. This is a single player campaign oriented game, and it's an experience about a shapeshifter suffering amnesia. It has nice graphics, but they are 1080p style, as this was originally derived from the 2015 on the Xbox 360 platform. While games were considered a commercial failure, the reality here is that both of these games are actually pretty good. And once you get them, you get the best version of the game, and you will be upgraded via smart delivery, which is something that I do think makes it even better. Now, the Recore Definitive Edition is the most expensive game out of the 10 in this list. This game was conceptualized by Kenji Ufemi and co-developed by Armature and Concept Studios. Generally, the game received some very positive reviews and comments. Since the Definitive Edition was released, which featured technical fixes, improved load times, changes to the gameplay, and additional content. However, if you wanted to purchase the standard edition, you can get the majority of these fixes as well. Now, you won't get the DLC content, but again, it's something you can do. After playing it, I'm sure that a lot of people slept on this one. It holds the distinction of being the first Xbox Play Anywhere title, and it has a lot to good about it. I really think now that it's fixed, you need to check it out. Now, this definitive edition is a little harder to get because of the limited number of physical copies that were released, but if you can snag one, that's definitely the way to go. When I think about the Xbox platform, one experience that I really wanted to have was Mario Kart. Now, I did a lot of looking at Mario Kart style games, and I have a video about that. about carding on Xbox if you want. Now, if you want to check out more on the subject, you can watch that video. But this is the game that I find the best carding experience on Xbox, which is CTR Nitro-Fueled Racing, developed by bsky and distributed by Activision. Now look, it has great tracks, smooth gameplay, responsive controls, and populated servers. Yes, it's not Mario Kart, but it is the best karting experience on Xbox. Now, this next one here is Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, which is a GameStop exclusive here in North America. And this is in physical, and it has led to the game being highly sought after because there's simply not that many of them. If you do find one, expect to pay close to $50 for this one. It is, it could go over 100 if it's still sealed, believe it or not. Now, it is a 3 versus 3 tag team battler, and it is one of the best versions of the game when played on Xbox Series X. Comes with all the DC, rock solid 60 FPS performance, and it is a great choice for collectors, and this is one to snatch up if you find it. Now, it continues to stay steady in value, and it's a fun game, solid investment, and a lot of fun. Now, the next game I have for you here is Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. This is an interesting choice to say the least. But after this great remaster by Stellar Entertainment, it's a pure joy to play. Look, I've always liked this game, and when you add the 4K HDR performance improvements, it just really plays well. The fact that it includes all the content makes it all the more fun, and you have a good time playing. And I find myself going back to this one from time to time. I just like the cop chases. The Need for Speed Pursuit remaster continues to be reasonably priced. It continues to hold its value, but you can often find it on sale. Now, the last one. This is Psychonauts 2. It is the sequel from the Double Fine original that was just released in 2022. It's a top-tier game, a rock-solid sequel to the original Psychonauts. And this is the physical collector's edition, or the Mother Lobe edition, that was released by IM8-bit. Now, the Mother Lobe edition includes stickers, art cards, a holographic sleeve, which is really kind of cool, actually, and some great download codes so you can see some really cool behind-the-scenes footage. Now, here's the thing. You can still find this for a reasonable amount of money, new in the box, and if you find it, you can normally score it for less than $30. The game is colorful, it's fun, and if you can score the collector's edition, all the better. So now, that we've looked at all these games, let's talk about the numbers. If you buy these 10 games on digital on the day I recorded this video, it's $400.90. Now, you can do better on some of these games, at looking on other stores and get digital codes and so forth and so on, and eBay. I'm just talking about the retail Xbox price. Now, if we get into the physical, you're going to have to do some research as well as some hunting, but these are the games with the physical editions listed next to them, as you can see. Now, and the cost for the complete in box. As with anything, prices can change, okay? And you need to know that. When you are ready to purchase, you need to double check your prices before you spend the money. Unless otherwise noted, it's safe to assume that any used game, the digital content's going to be used. If you get lucky, that's all the better. In physical, you're going to have to do some research and some hunting to get these prices at the numbers you want. But the game of physical collections, in the physical editions like this, last forever. But as with anything, and I don't know what the prices will do. They will, can change. They can go up or down. And that definitely is something that you need to consider. But as of today, I can get all of these 10 games for $309. That's almost $100 less. Now, in every case, except with Recore Definitive Edition and Marvel Ultimate versus Capcom 3, which are higher dollar ads because they are rare. You could go digital on those, which would drive the cost down to $242. And that's pretty much defeats the purpose of starting a physical collection, but still, you can get an idea of the cost difference there. Well, it does not always work out that the physical is cheaper than buying digital. It oftentimes works out in a way in the end that sees it go that way, at least for right now. Now, of course, you have to put up with getting up out of your seat and retrieving the disc and pulling the disc out of the drive. And rather than enjoying the, I guess you could say, convenience of digital licensing. So there's one more thing to consider. If you're really attached to a game and you want to make sure of game preservation's sake, you have a copy of the game, physical is your best choice. Now, why do I say this? Take Forza Horizon 4, for example. This is one of my favorite games. This game has been delisted, but if you own it digital, you can at this time still download it and play it in the store. However, this is not always the case. Since some games get delisted, and once they're delisted, there's no way to access them other than to have a physical copy. This is just something to keep in mind for the future, okay? So if you're thinking about starting an Xbox One Series physical collection, what do you think? Well, you need to tell me down below. What do you think of my top 10 list to start with? Do you think they're good recommendations? Do you like these games? Do you not like these games? Would you be willing to try these games if you're new to Xbox? Tell me more about it in the comments below. I'll be watching. My name's Marbs. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Subscribe for me. Bye now.